Hey guys, welcome to another video. I know I haven't posted in a long time, but yeah, so we're gonna be basically watching how Jawbreakers are made, and we have another special clip. So, I hope you like the little special clip we have. So yeah, let's get into
To make their bubblegum centers, a worker blends synthetic rubber with powdered resin will dissolve the rubber. He adds a thickener, a preservative, and an oil called soya palm stearine, so the candy won't stick to your teeth. After mixing and steaming at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 4 hours, the batter pours into trays to cool. Sugar, coloring, and flavoring would deteriorate in the heat, so workers add those later. There's enough of this base
wait,
would deteriorate
that looks like my lunch lady at school.
in the heat. Add those later. There's enough of this base to make gum centers for 450,000 small jawbreakers. After 24 hours, the batter's hard. Workers chop it up and blend it with corn syrup to make it softer and sweeter.
4 pieces.
They add just under 100 pounds of finished gum that didn't make it into jawbreakers before because it wasn't the right shape. Now they add natural and artificial flavors, which can include lemon, orange, strawberry, grape, even tutti frutti. Then they add icing sugar. It makes the gum smoother to chew than regular sugar would. Workers dump the batch into an extruder that shapes two continuous streams of batter called rope. Another extruder divides each rope into 6 hollow tubes. The cavity inside will become pockets of air inside the gum centers. The next machine slices the tubes into segments that are 3 feet 3 inches long. A mechanical arm pushes the segments into the channel of a forming machine. Steel rolls then
Guys, I'm not gonna lie. That's probably enough balls to fill your mom's mouth.
The balls range in diameter depending on the size of the jawbreakers being produced. Air blows through perforations in a cooling tunnel to cool and firm the centers. Then they fall into another forming machine which restores their round shape. Other jawbreakers have hard candy in the center. The machine that makes them works like the presses drug companies use to
My question, how does he know?
make pills. It feeds candy powder into dyes, then applies up to 5 tons of force to compress the powder into a solid candy. Now for the rest of the jawbreaker. First, they dump the candy centers into what's called a coating pan. They add a hot mixture of water, corn syrup, and food coloring.
That looks like butter with a little. That looks like popcorn with a lot of cheese.
Then dextrose, a type of powdered sugar. Then rotates as warm air dries the ingredients over the centers. The factory repeats this step 10 times for each layer. Talk about a sweet ordeal. Making a Jawbreaker takes 4 days. Workers give this badge special treatment. They speckle these Jawbreakers with different colors, giving them what this company calls the psychedelic look.
Wait,
The psychedelic look.
that looks like me when I'm about to do a test.
After letting the candies dry for 24 hours, a worker adds pinches of powdered carnauba wax. This gives the Jawbreakers a shiny finish. Sliced open, you can see these Jawbreakers have 10 layers of flavors and sugar surrounding either hard candy or bubblegum cores. They measure 2¼ inches in diameter, as big as a billiard ball. And if you're counting calories, forget it. A Jawbreaker is 90% sugar.
That looks like my friend's father. But yeah, our next video is called The Man in the Woods. My computer. It should be, yeah, on. You know that show called the family. What's it called? The Family Odd Parents. Yeah, the Family Odd Parents. You know Timmy Turner. I think that was the teacher's name. I think that was the teacher's name. But he looks like him. If he was like 70 something,
There's a man in the woods.
he is like, bro, he is as tall as his roof.
What a spectacle. Before the story started, this school was still
It's the 9th of September, 16.
respectable.
Why say 16?
My students used to skip down the hill to the honeysuckle, pluck a couple, and collect their nectar till they picked their fill. Except one obnoxious kid, Sid,
Sid from Toy Story.
who just watched them eat the flowers while he seethed and scowled because he couldn't bear to share his sweet treats throughout our recess hour. I remember Sid
Y'all had an hour at recess? The fuck?
saying, "There's a man in the woods." That's how the rumors began. Of course,
Sakura over here. Sakura wannabe over here. Big forehead.
that's how the poor kids. He got him immersed in his spiel about a serial killer whose gun barrel glint hints at peril, a visit to the nurse, or worse, a hearse waiting just beyond the dale. The children saw him everywhere. Look, over there, that man had bad man ears. We swear, and crazy yellow eyes. We saw something rusty. His shotgun? It must be. I saw a lady's severed thigh.
You didn't know what a severed thigh.
Trust me, every word I heard was absurd. Yet each day, Sid would stray down way past the
Oh damn, bro. What is he picking?
playground. Who else was brave enough to save
Wait a second.
us
Wait
from
a
the
second.
killers?
That kid has the gumu gumu. Bro, I never knew devil fruits were in real life, bro. You see this kid's arm just like stretching all the way up.
Next plot. The rest of the lot would stop back at the blacktop, sure that any closer they were bound to be found deep in the woods, left to rot. I pleaded for the kids to think and learn to be mature, but after a few more rumors doomed my attempts to prove the school was secure, their fear was undeterred, and when the buses drove them all home,
I barely know any first graders, second graders that go home last.
Fire.
Use your child.
blah. I received a wall of emails and calls full of shrieks, wails, and all from terrified families who'd heard word of the murderer and didn't like my lack of action at all. What was I supposed to do? Comb the whole
Ooh, she got a dumpy though. She got a dumpy
force
though.
outright? You? That means I didn't care? That's not fair. The stories that worried you weren't true. Of course I would feel regret, had no threat, and I ignored it. And some poor kid got kidnapped while the kids were napping. But you couldn't admit that your good little kid would formulate a fib, so he ignored what I said. Your little angels could never cook up such incredible emotions. An overactive imagination maybe, but my kid could never lie. How dare I? Accuse a child of being dishonest? You're just monstrous. The parents were displeased, and when the PTA took action, they dismissed me from the classroom. Like they knew what was best for their kids. Do you know how difficult it is to get a job when a bitter mom slanders your rep with child neglect from the outset? Now who's in control of your classes? Single file lines? Single file lines. Little vile swine, a killer by the pines. Really? Are you blind? Will you find your spines? Sid, a child decides to fill our minds with lies, and the next thing you see is people treating me like I'm committing crimes. I was in my prime.
He just spits on
Oh,
boss.
we're lucky to have me. Do you see? But I can play along. I can be good. Do you hear that, Sid? There's a man in the woods.
This guy really became man in the woods because he got fired. That is sad.